You know the feeling. We all know the feeling. Every single time your AI gives you a genuinely bad output, you do the exact same thing. You sit there, you stare at the screen, and you tweak the prompt. Maybe you capitalize a few words, add an exclamation mark for emphasis, you hit enter, and you just kind of hope for the best. It's this completely mindless, frustrating cycle of trial and error. You change one tiny word, you wait for the generation to finish, you read it, realize it completely missed the point again, and you start all over. Honestly, it's enough to make you want to throw your computer right out the window. But here is the thing that nobody is really talking about. The AI doesn't fail because it's dumb. It fails because right now you are flying completely blind. Up until this very moment, you couldn't actually see what the AI was thinking about or focusing on. You were essentially just throwing your inputs into a void and crossing your fingers for the magic to happen on the other side. Well, that whole tweak and pray era, it's over. Cursor just dropped a massive update that completely changes the game. It's called the Context Explorer. For the first time, literally ever, you can watch exactly where your AI's attention goes, token by token. And I mean exactly. This is absolutely not just some shiny new UI gimmick. This is the difference between flying blind in a storm and finally having a brightly lit cockpit full of actual instruments right in front of you. Instead of guessing what the AI read, you can see its exact flight path. And let me tell you, this is going to completely change how everyone works. And I mean everyone, not just hardcore software developers. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, we'll look at the AI black box. Number 2, we'll go inside the context window. Number 3, we'll break down some real-world agent workflows. Number 4, we'll understand the limitations. And finally, Number 5, we'll zoom out for the bigger picture. Starting right off with Section 1, the AI black box. I really want to take a second to remind you just how chaotic interacting with AI has felt up until now. It has basically been this giant, opaque, completely sealed container. You pour your carefully typed instructions in, a bunch of mysterious mathematical computations happen inside, and absolute chaos frequently comes out the other end. But the reality? The AI actually isn't broken. You just can't see where its attention is going. Everyone in the tech world has been obsessing over finding a better model or waiting for the next huge breakthrough in raw AI reasoning. But honestly, the missing piece of the puzzle hasn't been raw intelligence at all. The missing piece has been transparency. Because if you can't see what the AI is focusing on, you have absolutely no way to guide it. Moving right along to Section 2, inside the context window. Let's actually pop the hood here and break down the underlying mechanics of how these AI agents operate when you ask them to do something. Every single time you run a cursor agent, the AI is working with what's called a context window. Think of this context window like the AI's short-term memory container. It's a bucket, and it can only hold so much information at one single time. It holds your typed instructions, your workspace rules, and all your attached files. But here is the critical problem. The thing most users never, ever consider. Every single line of code, every sentence of a loaded PDF, and every little formatting rule you've set eats into that memory bucket. And because you haven't been able to see inside it, you literally have zero idea what is actually taking up all of that incredibly limited, valuable space. Enter Cursor's new context usage report. This is where things get really cool. This interactive report completely solves the memory mystery by visualizing exactly where your tokens are going. You get a beautiful, clear breakdown. You can look at the chart and see the exact slice for your system prompt, those base instructions guiding the AI in the background. You see the tool definitions, which are the specialized functions loaded in. You can see any custom behavior rules you've defined, specialized skills activated for the session, and of course your files and memory. By just glancing at this visual breakdown, you can instantly see if your crucial documents are being completely suffocated by some bloated system prompt you forgot about. You finally have absolute concrete proof of how that context is getting filled up. But get ready, because here is the most mind-blowing feature of this entire update. You aren't just looking at a static, boring chart. You can actually interact with it. You can literally type a message directly to the AI and ask, "Hey, why did most of my tokens go into the competitor analysis document?" And the AI will actually explain its own reasoning back to you. It will tell you exactly why it prioritized that specific file over another one. It's an absolutely incredible level of insight into the machine's actual decision-making process. Real quick, I also want to mention the second major feature in this Cursor update, Design Mode. This takes us away from traditional text direction and moves us to direct design mode. So instead of typing out a massively long, clunky description like, hey, can you change this specific button on the top right to blue and make it 20% bigger, you just click directly on the UI element on your screen and annotate it. This is huge because it completely bypasses the limitations of the text-based context window by giving the AI direct visual coordinates to work with. It creates an amazingly tight feedback loop. You just point at what's wrong and the agent fixes it. Less typing, more direct action. But as amazing as design mode is, I want to pivot back to the Context Explorer because that is where the absolute magic really happens for day-to-day workflows.
All right, let's jump to section 3, real-world agent workflows.
Let's see how all this theory builds into real-world, practical agent workflows. Because I know some of you might be thinking, okay, this is cool tech, but I'm not writing software all day. Well, let's take this completely out of the realm of developers and look at some highly practical, tangible workflows for non-technical folks. Let's look at the Student Study Optimizer workflow. Imagine you have a massive make-or-break history exam coming up. You've got a mountain of typed notes spanning months of complex lectures. In step 1, you open Cursor and upload all those notes right into the workspace. Step 2, you prompt the agent. Based on these notes, generate a comprehensive summary, 20 practice questions, and flashcards. Pretty standard stuff, right? But here is where it historically goes completely off the rails. The output comes back, and you realize it completely missed the second half of the semester. The entire Cold War era is completely missing from your history summary. In the old days, you just reprompt it, waste more tokens, get frustrated, and hope the AI magically found the right notes this time. But now, in step 3, you open the Context Explorer. And in step 4, you actually look at the data, question the agent directly, and optimize your inputs. The second you open that Explorer, the flaw in the AI's attention is exposed perfectly for you to see. You look at the chart, and you might see that 60% of your entire context window went entirely to chapters 1 through 3, and chapters 4 and 5 were barely even touched by the AI. Maybe your main file was too long and got truncated, or maybe your initial instructions just weren't specific enough. But the crucial point here is, now you actually know. You can literally ask the AI why it ignored chapter 5, tell the agent to reweight its focus, fix your prompt, and run it again. This completely transforms the student from being a passive passenger who's just crossing their fingers for a good study guide into an active co-pilot, actively steering the AI's attention exactly where it needs to go. Let's look at a second real-world scenario, the marketing team campaign build. Step 1, you load in your highly specific brand guidelines, your competitor research, and a new product brief. Step 2, you ask the AI for a massive batch of ad copy and social media posts. But when the output finally arrives, it sounds completely generic. It literally sounds like a robot wrote it, not your cool, edgy brand. It has zero personality. In the past, you'd be stuck. But now, in step 3, you check the Context Explorer and you realize something crazy. Your core brand guidelines document is barely even being used. Instead, some generic default marketing rule floating around in your workspace is taking up all the context space and completely overriding your specific brand voice. So, in step 4, you use the built-in debug with agent feature. It immediately flags a redundant keep it professional rule that was clashing directly with your edgy brand guidelines. You delete that single clashing rule, and boom, your brand guidelines are front and center again, and your ad copy comes out absolutely perfect. So, what does this all mean for us? This represents a massive, fundamental shift in how we work. We are officially moving from a messy process of trial and error to intentional system design. These workflows we just talked about aren't just about getting a slightly better email written or a slightly better study guide. They are about completely eliminating waste, dramatically reducing your token usage, and most importantly, finally understanding exactly why an AI output worked brilliantly or why it failed miserably. Which brings us to section 4, understanding the limitations. Now, let's be real for a second. I really wouldn't be doing my job as your explainer host if I just hyped up a brand new feature without being completely honest and analytical about its constraints. This is incredibly powerful tech, absolutely, but there are realities you need to be aware of. First off, this is a canvas layer feature. That means if you aren't working inside Cursor-specific structured agent environment, you aren't going to see it. Second, and this is super important to grasp, it is informative, not prescriptive. It shows you the token pie chart, but it doesn't automatically fix the structural problem for you. It's exactly like a check engine light on your car's dashboard. It happily tells you there is a problem with the oxygen sensor, but guess what? You still have to make the call on how to actually fix it. If you are a total beginner to AI, the Explorer might surface an amazing insight, like a tool definition taking up way too much space, but you might not actually know how to rebuild the engine to fix it just yet. And finally, remember that design mode is still in its early stages.
There is absolutely a learning curve to annotating a UI in a way that the AI perfectly interprets. So you should definitely expect some misreads and a little bit of friction as you learn the ropes of communicating visually with the agent.
And finally, Section 5, the bigger picture. Let's zoom out from this specific software update for just a minute. For the last couple of years, we have basically been living in this crazy, chaotic AI gold rush. Everyone is rushing to ship faster models and jam in more integrations, but almost no one has paused to actually address the fundamental relationship between humans and the AI itself. And this beautifully illustrates why this update is so profound. This whole thing is about compounding advantages. The ability to actually inspect agent reasoning, tightly optimize your token allocation, and build rock-solid repeatable workflows. As these AI models get more and more powerful and highly autonomous, understanding their underlying decision-making is no longer just a nice-to-have UI feature, it is a critical safety and quality concern. Transparency at this foundational layer is exactly what is going to separate the truly powerful, efficient users who get exactly what they want on the first try from the frustrated users who are stuck forever in endless tweak and pray loops.
So, to wrap this explainer up, Cursor didn't just ship a pretty new analytics panel. They genuinely changed the fundamental relationship between humans and AI agents. The black box we've been staring at for years has finally been ripped open. And whether you are a software developer trying to untangle your massive code base, a student pulling a frantic all-nighter to prep for an exam, or a marketing lead trying to effortlessly scale your brand's content, you now have the exact tools you need. You actually have the power to inspect, analyze, debug, and deeply optimize how your AI actually thinks.
So I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on today. If you could see exactly where your AI's attention goes right now, what would you optimize first? Would it be your complex system prompts, the hidden behavior rules you set up months ago, the massive PDF documents you constantly upload? The answer to that question really reveals where your biggest hidden workflow wins are just waiting to be uncovered.
I definitely want to hear your answers to that question, so jump down below and tell me what you'd optimize first. Like, share, and subscribe, please, and drop a comment in comment box.